So I actually thought the Liverpool-Singapore ownership was a stupid idea. And I'm happy to say that on the record. You can quote me on it. Government-linked companies should not be getting involved with football clubs. He's already panicking.
Okay.
I'm saying it.
I said nothing.
I think Neil...
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Yahoo Footballing Weekly with me, regular Yahoo columnist Neil Humphreys.
And me, regular Yahoo editor Keong. And him, semi-regular guest, Raushan.
Good to be here. Excited to get the discussion going.
Good to have him back. Manchester United fan, Singapore football commentator. There's nothing he doesn't know. No pressure.
No pressure.
About Man U and local football. But before we get into that, thanks as always for all your comments. Do keep them coming throughout the show, throughout the week. We thank you as always. Let's get into the match
of the week.
The farce, the comedy of the week. Liverpool, Tottenham. Go on, you go first. You're Liverpool. What did you think?
I just told them right before recording, when the Liverpool were 3-0 up, I was like so happy, so proud,
bragging
all
balls.
The bragging, all my minds all come out and like put on my Facebook, how many prata kosong should I eat the next morning? I had to delete that post. Eat the humble pie.
I mean, it speaks volumes of Liverpool season if they're celebrating a victory over Spurs, right?
Spursy Spurs.
But both seasons, both the club season is all encapsulated in one man. Obviously it's nice to get the win again, but it's just you just have to laugh and say, how do we get into to have needing a last minute goal? Although last minute goal seems to be Liverpool's thing. 41 times in the English Premier League.
Oh wow!
They've scored after the 90th minute.
He came armed with stats today.
Yeah.
He's brought the stats,
After
man.
No other club comes close, but I don't know why we always need to do that. That's Liverpool.
All right, let's do Liverpool first, then we'll get to Tottenham. I'm going to say what I wrote in the column, available on all Yahoo platforms, which is I saw Harry Kane playing for the wrong team at that match. When he scored that volley, that to me said everything that Liverpool missing.
So there's one part when Harry Kane was like dawdling on the ball and he got robbed by Mohamed Salah early in the match. And then you can see him like slump down.
That's what I knew. That's what I said in the piece. That's like, you're on the wrong team, man. You're still 1 year younger than Mo Salah, right? I know he's linked to Man U. Man U are a basket case. Forget them. We'll get to them in a moment. But Harry Kane is a simple pipe and slippers man. He likes stability. If he goes to Liverpool, he will be guaranteed stability for the next 2 or 3 seasons.
What does that mean for Darwin Núñez, though? Because they've spent 70 million on a striker.
Didn't get on the pitch until the 70th plus minute in a match that they needed to win. They had to win that. And I love Klopp. Klopp is a very loyal manager. It's becoming increasingly clear, Keong, he's bought the wrong guy. He doesn't see Núñez as a reliable goal-scoring threat. That man is on the other pitch, other side of the field. Harry Kane is Liverpool's man.
I don't deny that if Harry Kane was in Liverpool's attack, Trent Alexander will at least have 10 more assists every season.
Look, I agree. Harry Kane probably will fit Liverpool. He's a great striker, right? But I think Liverpool have issues elsewhere in the pitch to go and spend that money on a striker. Harry Kane, despite being in the last year of his contract, is probably going to cost 80 million or something, plus the levy tax and the English tax.
But could you get another player even close to that caliber for that kind of money in this climate?
I don't think you can, because I think he's the best proven goal scorer in the market. There's obviously Victor Osimhen from Napoli, who's being spoken about as a potential striker as well.
Still unproven.
But Harry Kane is proven, exactly. But I think Liverpool have more pressing issues in other areas of the pitch to go and shell out their money for Harry Kane, and that's why I think Manchester United.
So continue with your thing that Klopp has given up on Núñez. I think given up this season, but he hasn't given up.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Next season, I think. But I know. Right now, if you want to say comparing Núñez and Kane, there's no fight.
I mean, no, of course. Compare Kane to any striker and it's almost no fight. I just feel that a guy who craves stability, longevity, if he gets 2-3 years out of Liverpool at the peak of his career, he will finish with a trophy, guaranteed, which I think is all he may want at this point. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm just saying it's a good fit. And to your point, this brings me on to the second thing about Liverpool. Trent Alexander-Arnold. I know we are a broken record, but it showed me yet again, guys, contentious point. If Gareth Southgate had deployed him in any way similar to the way Klopp has in recent games, England might have won a trophy. That is how good I think he is. This is the irony about Alexander-Arnold. He is the best quarterback in English football, bar none. There is no one who even gets close. Since he's been shifted forward, 6 assists for Liverpool. 6 assists.
In a month.
And they're unbeaten, right?
Yeah.
They're unbeaten in that period. 6 assists, unbeaten, best in his position. The only downside is he can't defend to save his life. But from an England standpoint, that doesn't matter. They've got a glut of right backs. So forget right back. You don't need to play him at right back for England. For God's sake, what can Klopp see that Southgate can't? To me, it's one of life's mysteries. That man should be in that England side almost every game.
So it depends on how you view a player. Do you view him by what he can provide, or you view him as what problems he could bring into the team?
At international level, what he can provide. Yeah. Because I would assume that you'd have a world-class defence behind him.
So for Klopp, it's always, he can provide all of this, but he has some problems in defence. So how can I cover for him? Yeah. So Fabinho covers for him. Henderson covers for him.
And Konate was all over the place.
Yeah, Konate was all over the place because he's mobile enough to cover for him. So that covers Alexander's defensive flaws, and then he can bring him into central midfield, and then he does his wonderful work there. But you need, I think Southgate also needs to see it for himself, like, I actually could do it. That's his level.
Everybody can see it.
I'm not sure England have this world-class defence you speak of. Harry Maguire is centre focus for the England defence. Are we going to trust Trent ahead of him? You know what I mean? There are other issues. And
John Stones.
But right back, you've got the right back settled. That's the issue. For England, you have 2 or 3 good solid right backs that could easily
But it's
cover
taken Jurgen Klopp a long time to revolutionise Trent. He's played him at right back for the longest time. Only in the past month or 6 weeks or so has he had the gumption to go and put him in a different position. Obviously, a revelation.
And I think he's also trying to train him up for that position as well.
And it's also out of desperation. Let's be frank.
Exactly the point I was going to
make.
But
maybe it's good next year, Euro 2024. That if he continues to improve at this kind of position,
it will become inevitable. You can't be ignored anymore, right?
I just think it's extraordinary. His passing range in that game was out of this world. I mean, you've got to try to accommodate him. And I hate using the cliches, but I will. If he was Spanish, they would find a position for him.
Of course.
If he was Brazilian, they would find a position for him. And Gareth Southgate, and all I think is when Gareth Southgate says he kind of knows best, you look at his trophy cabinet, you look at Jurgen Klopp's trophy cabinet, you think, Klopp might have the edge on this one. But let us know what you think. As always, send all of your comments to
Yahoo Southeast Asia on YouTube, Yahoo SG, Yahoo_MY on Twitter, Yahoo SEA on TikTok.
All right, quick one. Spursy Spurs.
Not sure it's going to be a quick one.
Spursy Spurs. I got my favourite stat on Spursy Spurs yet, right? I saw it this week. They have won their last 10 bosses, or 11 if you include the interim manager, have won a combined 60 trophies in that period.
Okay.
Not one of them at Tottenham.
Well done.
Not one of them at Tottenham. They have won 10 European titles, 20 league titles, 29 domestic cups, and 1 international competition.
That is mind-boggling.
What a stat. The only trophy they won in that period was Juan de Ramos. He won the League Cup in 2008.
Wow.
During that period, from Santini all the way up to Conte, 10 managers, between them in that period, 60 trophies, not one at Tottenham. That's how much Spursy does Spurs need to get? There's nothing to say to that.
All right, discussion done.
Jose Mourinho must have taken out half of those 60.
Pochettino,
this is clear. Conte. This is probably a clear sign that it's not the manager's fault. It's Daniel Levy, isn't it?
Clearly.
I mean, he must have promised the moon for them to come, and then said, you can't buy this. You can't do team strengthen here. You can't do that. And then they have to take second-rate, cheaper players whom Conte has just slammed him before he left. And now you can see the last 3 matches. They just actually didn't seem to care at first. Then they found, we are this so embarrassing. I can't be embarrassed any further. And then you see them suddenly to pick up how they play.
Yeah.
It's just
it's very Spurs to be they can't deal with pressure, right? That's what Conte said before he got sacked. And right now, they seem like when they're 2-0 down, there's no more pressure. I'm just going out to play. They rescued a 2-2 draw against Liverpool, 3-0 down. They came back and 3-3, right?
Yeah.
But it's all Levy. He's got his priorities wrong for so long. Yeah. He obviously put all the eggs in this brand new stadium, which is state of the art, which is probably the best in Europe or the world. Yeah. And then now he's trying to desperately deliver a trophy because that will get you some form of money to continue to run the club that way. And that's why he's gone for Conte and Mourinho. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. I think the next appointment is key because, to Conte's point, he was a bona fide winner, but they didn't give him the tools to succeed at all.
I think Mourinho same. Even Pochettino to extent.
Well, I was going to say, the only manager that came close to Levy's ethos, which is buy him cheap and produce a good enterprising team, was Pochettino. And he fires him. Popular manager, okay, they fell short at the end, overachieved arguably, always played good football. You know, this was in the period when it was very close between them and Arsenal, and Tottenham's football was always superior to Arsenal's at that time. And then they fire him. I don't know the future. I mean, you look at that match against Liverpool, they got 3 at the back, 3 centre-backs, and God bless him, but if Eric Dyer is the one in the middle of this, the trio, trying to hold it all together, you know, it was very the Three Stooges, wasn't it? It was Dumb, Dumber and Dumbest in that game. You're never going to gel as a unit if Eric Dyer is the man at the middle. He's not Rio Ferdinand. He's not John Terry.
Is he not?
No, he's not. I'm going to tell you. In case you didn't know. He's not Virgil van Dijk and so on. So you can't build a central defence around him.
Agreed.
So the whole setup is wrong at Tottenham.
I think the good thing for Tottenham now is good thing. I never thought I'd say good things for Spurs, but the good thing is Patrici has left as well. So it's a clean slate for whoever the manager comes in. He's going to bring in his own sporting director, and then it needs to make sense from top to down because
it's
Spurs...
It's going to take money.
It's going to take a couple of years.
Unless you sell the man up top. It's now become the point of no return. They have to sell him to generate funds.
I'll sell Son Heung-min and Harry Kane.
They have to. If you look at their team, front to back, new goalkeeper.
Yes.
New centre-back, if not 2.
Yep.
A full-back.
Entire midfield.
And then if you're selling Son and Kane, obviously, you've got to replace them both. But even if you don't, both of them are 30, right? I mean, Kane is 29, almost 30. Son is there already. Yeah. So 6 or 7 players minimum for Spurs to compete next season.
So who then for the Spurs job, in your opinion? In terms of the job we've just
Honestly,
outlined.
If you wanted a semi-quick fix, I would look at Pochettino, but it looks like he's not going to take it. He's been linked to Chelsea.
I mean, for me, if I had to choose both, I'd choose the Chelsea project because at least it's more enticing.
Would you?
I think I would. Would you choose Spurs over Chelsea?
I mean...
you may get paid more.
Okay. Exactly.
Well, let's put it this way: if you go to Chelsea, you'll get your redundancy package faster.
I was just going to say that
you'll get paid out quicker.
But I think with Spurs, they can possibly look at Graham Potter or Brendan Rodgers. I know both have a bit of a damaged reputation.
Let's talk of Nagelsmann, isn't it?
Look, I don't know about these Hollywood signings. I don't know whether Spurs, they've tried this Hollywood rule.
I agree with that. I agree with you about Nagelsmann.
They need to go for someone like Potter, Brendan Rodgers, Vincent Kompany, who I don't want him to see leave Burnley, but he's done well to bring in younger players and instill a way of play, right?
I agree with that.
I think that's the way they need to go. They've tried to go down this quick fix route. It's not a quick fix anymore.
I still think with the right circumstances, Graham Potter will be a very good manager. You can mock me, you can quote me on that. I'm convinced if you took him at a West Ham or a Tottenham, he would do a fantastic job at any of those clubs. Chelsea at the moment, this exact moment, is almost an unmanageable club.
Lampard hasn't even won a match yet.
Well, they got smashed, didn't they? They just 3-1 against Arsenal. Yeah. I mean, there's a lesson, which is a nice segue into Manchester United. Another basket case. Another.
Not really.
It is a basket case.
On the pitch, they've been chugging along. Okay.
Basket case.
No, we'll get... All right. Tell us about the pitch side of things first. Then I'll explain why I think they are a financial basket case.
Okay. This is obviously to do with the ownership or something. We'll get to that. But on the pitch, I think United have done what's necessary. They've won a cup. They've more or less secured top 4. I think it's more or less a done deal after beating Aston Villa at the weekend.
I don't think so.
I don't think the FA Cup final is going to be easy, but at least we have it in our own hands to deny Man City the treble, so that's important. Football's been pleasant to watch after a long while, but I do think Manchester United have got lucky in Ten Hag's first season purely because, yes, there is a semblance of identity, but Chelsea, Spurs and Liverpool have fallen by the wayside. So that's opened up a route into the top 4. So they've had it easy that way, but there's improvements to be done.
Yeah. All of that I agree with.
Yep.
All of that I agree with. No, there is no but. Hear me out on this. I actually feel sorry for Manchester United supporters here, objectively, right? And this is why this gloating that's happening right now concerning Man U, everyone's laughing at Man U because of the sale fiasco. Should they go to Radcliffe, the British consortium? Should they go to the Qatari consortium? Be very, very careful what you wish for, right? The EPL made this mess. Look at Chelsea. You've got an American investment fund basically detonating their own club, right? They're destroying their own club. You've got Leeds so terrified of relegation. They've probably sacked the manager since we've been on air, right? They've sacked another manager. Why? Because they need to complete their sale to this San Francisco 49ers franchise. If they get relegated, the sale potentially falls through. So you've got this panic across the board. Then you've got Manchester United being traded like some second-hand cheap durian in a pasamalam. You know, it's so embarrassing to watch that the club of such prestige and reputation and heritage are being traded so cheaply between these consortiums. Look at the consortiums. Radcliffe, homegrown hero. Yeah, he's a tax exile in France. Let's get that right.
Homegrown hero in Monaco.
The next one, Qataris. Oh, there's no state involvement. He's kind of bank manager.
He's the son of a former Qatari minister.
But the bio is so hazy, right?
He doesn't know his age. They don't know
his age, don't know his background. The bio is hazy. But somehow he's found £6 billion down the side of the sofa, but there's no state involvement whatsoever. This is the mess that the EPL is in. The EPL created this mess, and Manchester United, sadly, are at the heart of it. So to gloating clubs, gloating supporters, be careful. Be careful what you wish for. There's about 5 or 6 clubs in the EPL in a dire situation.
I agree, but you can't compare Manchester United to Leeds or Everton because the football suggests that success will be delivered on the pitch.
That's short term. That's short term.
What, the success on the pitch?
Honestly, the way football is at the moment, win a game, lose a game, draw a game, this is all short-term stuff. The long-term repercussions for Man U are huge, depending on who their next owners are.
No, I completely agree with you. I think the Premier League has been ruined by money in that sense, right? We've seen in the years gone by.
Lack of control of money.
Exactly. You talk about Chelsea having American owners. Look, it started with the Russian owner. That's where this all started. Football becoming football manager, basically. And then Man City. But I think it's reached a stage now where if you can't beat them, just join them. There's no harm in that, just to level the playing field, because otherwise you're never going to compete with Man City.
Is that our only alternative now?
Look at Man City. We'll talk about Man City and their dominance in a while. Yes, Pep Guardiola, revolutionary manager, but he's done it because he's able to buy any player he wants. So how are you going to compete? Look at Arsenal.
It's a vicious cycle.
But then you have to start, we're getting quite cheem now, quite deep, but then you've got to ask the philosophical question, what do we want this league to become? Because by your argument, we're going to end up with 4 or 5 state-owned clubs because that's the only way. They're not interested in profit. It's all about the sports washing exercise, right? The PR, the soft power. Then what? You've got 4 or 5 Middle Eastern oligarchs owning 4 or 5 clubs. Everybody else falls by the wayside, and those top 4 or 5 clubs have their own closed shop style Super League.
But I think everything also started, for Man U itself, started with the sale to the American owners.
To the Glazers.
To the Glazers. I think
which Fergie completely backed.
I mean, obviously after the sale they haven't been as successful as before, and that's why they've grown very resentful of the American owners, the Glazers. And now this anything goes. I just get rid of the American owners. I think
it's a very purist,
which is the Newcastle. What happened to Newcastle?
And that's that. For me personally, I fear that Liverpool fans are going down the same path with FSG when they have already done far better, I feel, as compared to the Glazers. But they're still relatively minor problems such as not updating the midfield. And then they say FSG out, trending. Every time I can see it trending, every time we lose or
we live in a day and age where there's stick to hit a club with, like owners need to back them more.
Be careful what you wish for.
And a brief segue, you know my views on this. Recently in Singapore, it made news that the GIC may be interested in Liverpool, which I thought was an absolutely stupid decision because if I'm a GIC, if my taxpayers' dollars are going somewhere, I want them in telcos. I want them in tech. I don't want them in a football club. You can't make money in a football club.
Very rarely.
So I actually thought the Liverpool-Singapore ownership was a stupid idea. And I'm happy to say that on the record. You can quote me on it. Government-linked companies should not be getting involved with football clubs. He's already panicking.
Okay.
I'm saying it.
I said nothing.
I think, Neil, you're fighting the good fight when you talk about wanting football to remain as it was.
My
15,
club is
20
owned by
years.
2 pornographic barons.
So West Ham, man.
I've got no room for
And
argument.
they've splashed a fair amount of money. I mean,
They splashed
West
a lot
Ham-
of things
yeah.
as porn owners.
But it hasn't been as exciting to watch as porn, possibly.
No, that's true. That's also
That's
true.
David Moyes' fault, man.
That's also true. But let's move on to Manchester City because it ties in very nicely with what we're talking about, which is here we are looking at what, the 5th title in 6 years?
6 years.
And the level of anticlimax, the level of to what should be a tribute to their dominance sums up where we are.
Yeah.
You've got a team potentially poised to win a 5th title in 6 years while an investigation continues alleging that they cheated throughout that process. Is this where we are? Is this what the EPL has to be?
And it's funny. This is almost at a level of Man U's dominance in the late 1990s.
But they were never accused of cheating, financial doping.
Yeah, and still we kind of respected that six titles in 8 years, if I'm not wrong. And now we look back at that kind of dominance as like the benchmark. And now even if Man City are almost reaching that stage, all of us like, no. I think Alex Ferguson is still that era was still. I mean, we all look at that as the proper kind of dominance.
Yeah.
Except Mr. Noel Gallagher, very famous Man City fan,
Of course.
obviously, Oasis guitarist, who said this. It's during a radio show, and then he said, Alex Ferguson never invented anything. Pep Guardiola changed football. And then that's his reason for feeling that Guardiola trumps over Ferguson.
I mean, I like Noel Gallagher,
Yeah,
but I have to say I disagree with him on this because, firstly, Pep Guardiola can buy £100 million players and leave them on the bench.
Yeah.
Ferguson was still dominating with the likes of, and this is no disrespect, Diego Forlan and players like that. They were never competing actually at the top players.
Fledglings, you can't deny that.
Right?
that wonderful
Even at the
achievement.
peak of Manchester United's powers, they couldn't challenge the Galacticos of Real
course,
Madrid
yeah.
or Barcelona in terms of financial might or heft. So I have tremendous respect. I actually dug out an old article I wrote for ST in about the year 2000 when I said, sound the alarm, why this is bad for football. Beckham and co were about to win another title.
Okay.
The column seems quaint now. It seems naive now because I was talking purely about matters on the pitch.
Yeah.
There were no such things as sports washing and doping and allegations of financial irregularities and state-owned teams. If you look at the EPL now, and to your point, you are correct on this, there is no way any other club can compete with Manchester City for the foreseeable future unless they are also taken over by an oligarch of similar wealth. I don't personally see any reason to celebrate that. What do you think?
I feel like Man City, unfortunately, as dominant as they are, there's always going to be that disclaimer, that asterisk on
it's a
every
caveat.
achievement. They
There's
could
a
win a
caveat.
treble this year, but there still will be an asterisk at the end of it, which is unfortunate. And with Pep Guardiola, yes, he's revolutionized football. Let's not get that wrong. They inverted fullback, the way they play, but whoever walks into that job, look, Man City are not going to hire Noali, for example. They're going to hire the cream of the crop.
Hey, we love Noali.
I do
I
too.
want down the record.
If
We
Noali's
love
listening,
Noali.
you know I love you. But I mean, Geylan's got a City investment. But anyway, Singapore football later. My point is they're going to hire the greatest managers in the game. If not Guardiola, they're going to hire Nagelsmann. They're not going to hire someone random. So whoever walks into that job already comes with the style of play that they want, and then you throw money into the mix, it's going to be so hard to compete. I think that's the problem with Man City. It's either I don't even think these financial regulations or whatever they're in charge with is going to take away anything. I think they are just set up to circumvent it in any way
They've got
possible.
so many offshore accounts and lawyers and
it's
accountants.
And don't you think Newcastle are going to be the new Man City in the next 5
Possible.
years? Yes, I know under Eddie Howe they've made a steady start, but Eddie Howe reminds me of when Mark Hughes was there. You know, I mean, just hedging,
He's doing
getting
well,
Champions
though. No,
League
I think Eddie Howe's doing well.
qualification. But I think Newcastle will outgrow Eddie Howe in that sense. Yes, Eddie Howe, tremendous job, probably manager of the year this season, but his KPI is to achieve top 4, which I think he will do for a couple of seasons now. And then what? And then they're going to hire someone from Europe.
It'd be funny
for
if
sure.
they hire Guardiola to Newcastle.
Well, I mean, look, Man City and Newcastle. David Moyes will soon be available. You're more than happy to have him. But let us know what you think. Is Manchester City's dominance no good? is the next owner for Manchester United critical? Send all your comments and opinions and thoughts to
Yahoo Southeast Asia on YouTube, Yahoo SG, Yahoo_MY on Twitter, and Yahoo SEA on TikTok.
Brilliant. Thanks for watching. Raushan, thanks for being here.
Good to be here.
And we'll be back in part 2 talking Singapore football. See you there.